Greetings. My name is Kenneth Brown, and this evening I will be providing a brief synopsis of the secondary classroom, the ELA classroom video that I had an opportunity to observe and copy notes. So we will get right into it. I do apologize about my eye contact, but I'm looking at my notes on my other computer. So we're just going to dive right into this. Question number one says, what additional information would you want to know about this teacher and her students in order to better gauge the quality of instruction? Some additional information after watching the video that I would want to know about the teacher and or her classroom would primarily include the composition or the makeup of the classroom in relation to demographics. Not just the ethnicity makeup of the classroom, not only male and female, but also subgroups. What are the subgroups that are incorporated into the classroom? Does she have any ELL students, any 504, any ESC or special needs students, etc.? And I'm making that reference because that would be a big determination in how the teacher would differentiate instruction. So again, I think that would probably be one of the main things that I would want to know additionally after watching the video. What, if any, are the instructional practices or accommodations needed to suit each learning style? Or what methods does the teacher incorporate to ensure that each student has an equal and equitable opportunity to grasp the intended target or the lesson aim? Another question I want to know, is this classroom an advanced class or is it a general ed class? After watching the video, and again, I keep saying after watching the video, but I kind of wondered what were the groups strategically paired together? Were the students paired together to match the stronger students with the students that needed more support? Was there some form of logic behind how the teacher paired the students together in the small groups? Again, these were questions that kind of came up as far as additional information in answering question number one. In moving forward, question number two, what instructional strengths were noticed? Some of the instructional strengths that were noticed immediately was how the teacher referred to the learning target before beginning the lesson. The learning target acts, in my opinion, as a barometer, or it serves as a roadmap to the overall goal or aim of the lesson for the day. In simplest terms, the learning target keeps the lesson honest, defining the true intent of the lesson. And I believe that this makes the lesson more easily measurable when you are more specific about what you want to accomplish for the specific lesson or the specific target. This can be seen in your summative assessments, of course, at the end of the lesson. Did the students display their ability to clearly display mastery of the target? Again, all of these things, in my opinion, revolve around the learning target. So kudos to the teacher for how the first thing that she did before beginning the lesson was to introduce the learning target. It appears that the target, again, a strong point of the lesson, it appears that the target that she introduced to the classroom was standards-based. I thought that also the method in which the teacher uses the entire class to read the learning target aloud was a great method to ensure cohesiveness, student participation, and engagement. You can tell that the students had done that before because it didn't take much prompting from the teachers. So that was a really great method because it kind of allows the students to have tunnel vision about what their learning target is in today's lesson. Another strong point of the classroom was the teacher appeared to be or to have a very well managed class. The routines had been established. Again, it looks like through consistency. The class was not only used to these routines, but they looked like they were familiar. Lesson segments that the teacher introduced throughout the lesson were very well structured. She had delegated increments of time. There was 15 minutes for one portion, and I believe 20 to 25 minutes for another portion of the lesson. And that left no time for distraction. So the lesson was very fluid. And as we know, as educators, we like to transition our lesson from one point to another. Therefore, we keep our kids engaged. We limit distractions and all of those things that could occur in downtime. The teacher provided written instructions on the board, and the students were called to make references in order to ensure understanding. The teacher had a great rapport with the students. She called on the students heterogeneously in different sections of the classroom, in the back of the class. She also made a reference to, I haven't heard from this side of the class. So it appears that she was randomly picking on the students and not just focusing on one set group of students. And again, this is a great method to ensure understanding and participation. While visiting each group during the graphic organizer portion of the activity, she employed guided instruction. As she went from group to group, she was asking open-end questions. And she reminded the students, and I love the vernacular that she used, she reminded the students to cite textual evidence and analyze key details. She actually challenged the students to employ high-order thinking skills, building upon content and concepts that were previously covered in class. The questions were not yes or no, but again, the questions were open-ended. It gave the students a chance to formulate their own opinions based on the content that they had previously learned. I found that the teacher also used praise and encouragement to motivate her students, to keep her students going. Good job, you rock, and all of those wonderful things. Her rhetoric elicited high expectations, which is a wonderful tool used to push your students. Self-motivation, I believe it's referred to as extrinsic motivation when the instructor is able to motivate our children. Lastly, in answering question number 2 in the teacher's strengths, the teacher employed differentiated instruction by using the graphic organizer. Of course, we know that we have so many different personalities and so many different learning styles in one classroom, and to be able to differentiate the instruction is a wonderful, wonderful tool that can be employed to ensure that all of our students have a great equal opportunity to be able to grasp the content. Now, I am moving on to question number 3. And the final question, it says, what instructional opportunities for development were noticed? A few notable opportunities for development included the teacher's use of the learning target. Again, the learning target is a wonderful roadmap. It helps keep the children focused on a specific goal for today. I believe that the teacher should have made references to the learning goal before, during, and also after the lesson. Again, that reminds our students what the goal for the lesson is. So to make those constant references to the learning goal throughout the lesson, I believe would have been very beneficial. There were also times when the teacher was talking, when she was giving instructions near the beginning of the lesson, that the students appeared to be a little confused. Some of her students didn't have a full understanding of what she was trying to facilitate. I've read on many occasions, even heard on many occasions, just because a student is quiet and they are looking at you does not mean that they understand. So I believe while the teacher was giving her instructions, I believe that the students would have benefited if she would have allowed the students to have some form of accountable talk or turn and talk amongst themselves. That would have given a clearer understanding, and it might have eliminated some of the questions or the understanding that the kids did not have. Oftentimes, students were asking questions in relation to how to complete the graphic organizer. Again, just to be repetitive and keeping with my notes, perhaps the incorporation of technology such as a PowerPoint with precise details would have proven beneficial too. Oftentimes in my lesson, when I'm doing a lesson, I will put up the instructions on a PowerPoint. And again, it's just a different method, but it's a way so that you don't have to be repetitive. Of course, you want to go around to assist the kids, but to incorporate that PowerPoint or the use of technology, I believe would have been another awesome tool that the teacher could have used. I'm drawing close to an end. I know I'm over my time. The time allotted that the teacher had allowed to complete the graphic organizer, it appeared that that might not be enough time for accurate completion. So I believe that she may have to continue the lesson the next class or a couple of days. I don't think the time that she allotted was sufficient. Lastly, the aforementioned learning target. The learning target indicated that the students will be able to identify. The verb identify has been characterized as level 1 on Bloom's taxonomy. So in the teacher's methods of being able to formulate a lesson that's going to stimulate high order thinking, well, when we use words like identify, that's probably on the bottom or the first tier of Bloom's taxonomy. So using identify, you might want to make the learning target a little bit more strategic by using words like create, by using words like analyze. That would create rigor for the lesson, and it would also stimulate high order thinking. So thank you so much. That was my synopsis or my evaluation of the secondary video that was on the 9th grade ELA classroom. I apologize for going over my time, and I wrote down so many things that I didn't want to leave anything out. I do appreciate it. Bye-bye.